This is the story called The Child Abduction. There's a little girl who has become a ward of the court due to allegations that her father was abusing her. Dina has to go to court to give evidence. In the courtroom, Dina is asked if she knows the difference between the truth and lies. She says, yes, when you lie, it's like doing something bad, saying that you didn't do it, and you get into trouble. When you do something bad and your parents know that you did it and you admit it, then you don't get into trouble. Dinah was then asked if her father had ever hurt her. Her father was in the courtroom and he was staring at her and giving her warning looks, and she was really scared and she said, "No, my daddy never hurt me." She was asked the same question again, but she answered no again. This meant that her father was free to go and that she would be in his care again. However, Dinah was absolutely terrified of her father and she didn't want to live with him. Just as her dad, Lionel, was putting her in his car, he turned his back for a couple of minutes and she ran off and hid in her lawyer's car. Her lawyer, Martha, had no idea she was there. A few miles down the motorway, Martha stopped for petrol, and as she got out of the car and reached for her bag, which was on the back seat, she spotted Dinah and she told her to stay there. When she came back to the car and drove off, she stopped further down the road and told Dinah to get on the front seat. She asked her, "Dinah, what are you doing here? I could get into a lot of trouble for this." "I'm sorry, they were making me go back to live with Daddy and I don't want to." "Please don't make me go back. If you do, I will run away again," said Dinah. Martha knew that Dinah was telling the truth about her dad, and she knew that she couldn't send her back to him. She decided to take her to her sister Louisa's house, who lived out in the countryside with her husband Tom. One day Martha was sat in her car and when Tom climbed in and tried to kiss and grab her. Thankfully, she managed to get away from him. She knew that if she stayed it would happen again, so she grabbed Dinah, said goodbye to Louisa and drove off, not knowing where she was going. Halfway down the road, her friend Wayne, who was a cop, stopped her to see how she was and where she was going. He already knew about Dinah because he'd seen her at Louisa's. He told her that there was an old shack that belonged to his great-grandparents a few miles down the road. He said that it was really run down, but she could stay there and no one would find her. He told her that Dinah's dad was looking for them and he was accusing her of abducting his daughter, and he was adamant he was going to get her back. He even hired a private detective to find her, but he drew a blank. Then he paid a cop friend of his to find her off the record, and he did it because he needed the money. One day, Dinah's dad's housekeeper entered his bedroom to put clean bedding on his bed, and as she lifted his mattress up to put the sheet on, she found some photos of Dinah naked, and she knew that she had to do something. Thankfully, the cop who was trying to find Dinah and Martha had just arrived at the house, and she secretly handed him the photos. The cop didn't let on about the photos. He just continued looking for Dinah and Martha. Martha and Dinah stayed at the old shack until one day Dinah's dad found them. When Dinah was outside playing, he shouted to Dinah and told her to be a good girl and come to Daddy. Dinah refused and she told him, "I'm not coming to you, Daddy, and I'm not scared of you anymore. Come to me now, Dinah. You know that Daddy has to hurt you when you're bad," said Lionel. Despite being only 7 years old, Diana stood her ground. "I'm not coming to you, Daddy. I'm not scared of you anymore because you can't hurt me anymore," she said. Then Lionel went to grab her, but just as he did, the police stopped him and got her off him and arrested him. He was charged with child abuse and kept in jail on remand. On the first day in court, Diana's dad Lionel pleaded not guilty to child abuse. The judge told him that he would be remanded in custody until his trial, which was set for 6 weeks' time. In the meantime, no charges were brought against Martha, and she was allowed to continue caring for Dinah until the court decided what would be best for her. On the first day of the trial, Lionel still denied all the charges, despite all the evidence against him. The trial went on for 2 long weeks, and despite his not guilty plea, Lionel was sent to jail for 10 years, and he was told that he wouldn't get parole and he would have to serve his whole sentence. He was also told that he wasn't allowed to have any contact with children under the age of 18 ever. The judge told Dinah that she was a very brave little girl. A week later, they were all in court for the custody hearing. The judge decided that the best thing for Dinah was to let her continue living with Martha because she was really happy and settled living with her. By this time, Martha and Wayne were in a relationship and they had moved in together. They told the judge that they were planning on getting married and that they would like to adopt Dinah. The judge asked Dinah if that was what she wanted, and of course she said yes. The judge decided to finalise the adoption there and then. Lina's parental rights were terminated and Dinah's mum died of bowel cancer when Dinah was 4 years old. A few months after the adoption was finalised, Martha and Wayne told Dinah that they were going to have a baby and that they were going to get married. Dinah was really excited by this news and she couldn't wait to be a big sister and a bridesmaid. She was also very excited and a bit nervous about starting her new school. On Dinah's first day at her new school, Martha went in with her to see the headmistress and to find out which class she was in. The headmistress set her up with her buddy and it was their job to take Dinah to their classroom and show her around a bit. Dinah did really well at her new school and her buddy Ashley became best friends and Dinah was really happy there. However, when Dinah was 10 years old, her life was yet again turned upside down. Her dad was being transferred to another prison when the prison van crashed and he managed to escape. One of the prison officers caught him, but Lionel killed him and then he went on the run. He somehow found out where Dina, Martha, Wayne and Dinah's little sister Reese were living. He stole a car and as Dinah was coming home from her friend's house one day, he grabbed her, put her in the car and drove off. What he didn't realise was that the police had put roadblocks everywhere and there was no way he could escape. He was taken back to jail with an extra 10 years added onto his sentence for child abduction. After this, the family moved away somewhere new, but not far away because they wanted Dinah to stay in the same school that she was in because she was happy and settled there and all her friends were there. She had nightmares for a few weeks, but she had counselling. Eventually the nightmares went away and Dinah was her normal, happy self again in no time. A few months after the incident with her dad, Dinah moved up to high school and she continued to do really well. It turned out that Dinah was an amazing singer and actress, and she knew that when she grew up she wanted to be either a singer, actor or both, but she wasn't 100% certain which. However, when she reached her final year of high school, she decided that she wanted to be a lawyer, so she could help other child abuse victims. She studied really hard and she was able to get all the right grades that she needed to get into law school. She is now a fully qualified lawyer, and she is married and she has 3 kids of her own, and 2 that her and her husband Sean are in the process of adopting. The end. Thank you.